It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you so much for joining us. As we get the kids out to the local lakes and pools to enjoy the greater West Bloomfield area this summer, local swimmers are making waves all across the globe, including over at the Orchard Mall, where Goldfish Swim School just set a new record. Civic Center TV reporter Jake Schaff has the story.
All throughout Greater West Bloomfield, families are getting ready to enjoy themselves out on the water. And Goldfish Swim School is doing their part by helping educate kids on water safety. As just recently, Goldfish took part in the world's largest swimming lesson, where families had a blast out in the water and learned some very important safety tips along the way.
It is the world's largest swim lesson. It's just bringing awareness to drowning prevention and taking that first initial step to saying you're going to be a safer swimmer by taking this lesson. So what we're going to have today is this hour of open swim where the kids get to have fun in the water, participate in it, and then afterwards we're going to do a water safety presentation, not just for the kids but also for the parents on how to practice water safety at home.
I think it's absolutely important for all the young children to learn how to swim. We live in Michigan. There's a lot of lakes around here, and it's important to know how to swim.
How cool is it for a place like Goldfish to be involved in something like the world's largest swim lesson?
That's a pretty amazing effort that they're putting forth to get people out and aware of water safety. Even if they can swim just a little bit, it's helpful, but I would always suggest a life jacket for younger children anyways.
What would you say were some of the most important lessons that were taught at this class today?
Probably it was nice at the end that they explored like how to do the water safety, try to help others if they're in need, because we've never really talked about it, so it's nice to know like to throw something for help and stuff like that. Yeah.
You kind of see every day different stories of stuff happening around the water, and I kind of do as much as I can to prevent that, as well as everyone else here. We really strive to keep everyone safe, not only here, not only with their at-home school, not only it's kind of like rivers, lakes, anything around that, just kind of around the world. Really just bring awareness as much as possible to people just so they can be safe in and around the water.
What do you hope are some of the biggest things everyone takes away from here today?
I hope everybody takes away a much better understanding of the water safety that's needed and how to protect your children in the lakes and rivers of the area.
I think the most important thing that if I can tell them is swim lessons save lives. By taking swim lessons, you stop that prevention of drowning up to 80%. So it is just such a big number. That's a big jump. 80% is such a big number to know that, like just knowing that we're going to prevent that drowning.
Our biggest thing is water safety. Our number one priority is water safety. So not only just as being a Goldfish thing, but being a nationwide thing of people at home doing this, different swim schools of really pushing that water safety. We have our whole month dedicated to water safety, so I love that we can put an extra day worldwide to have people put first water safety.
So much to learn here at Goldfish Swim School, and I'm sure that all of the hard work today is going to keep many families safe throughout the entire summer. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
More fun events at Goldfish Swim School of West Bloomfield all throughout the summer and all throughout the year. Visit goldfishswimschool.com for more information. Close to home, the soundtrack of the summer is set right in our backyard. The beloved new tradition born out of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Still Sunsets concert series returns for another summer of outdoor concert fun in the prettiest little city in Michigan tonight. Fan favorite is back on the stage. Alex Shearer will take the stage on Lakeview, a long way from where you perhaps last saw him on the big stage on American Idol. This summer, a new wrinkle as well. The music continues every week, Monday and Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Sylvan Table. Tonight, however, on Lakeview, the concert, 7 o'clock p.m. Alex Shearer will kick off another summer of the Still Sunsets concert series. For more information, including how you can get involved, sponsoring a concert, donating to fund this grassroots effort in Sylvan Lake, join the Sylvan Lake What's Going On Facebook group or visit sylvantable.com/experiences for more information on those Monday and Wednesday concert lineups. From the outdoors to a plethora of brand new spaces and lots of history to explore indoors, the Chaldean Community Foundation recently unveiled a new state-of-the-art community center in West Bloomfield Township, expanding its reach in celebration of one of the most robust cultures making up the melting pot of our community, and providing a new space for the whole greater West Bloomfield community to connect in the process. Civic Center TV reporter Jake Schaff has more.
Outside of Iraq, Michigan is home to the largest Chaldean population in the world. And just recently, a brand new cultural center right here in Greater West Bloomfield opened up for the Chaldean community to embrace and celebrate their culture. With several different amenities for the entire community, there is something for everybody here with this building, and provides such a powerful connection to everyone who is proud to be a Chaldean. What has been your favorite thing to see here tonight from all the incredible amenities that are available?
So my favorite thing to see is by far the library, Bishop Brahim Library. The manuscripts, I love history, so just to see like 1,000-year-old manuscripts, you know, that's our roots, you know, and seeing that it's been digitized and all that they've done to preserve and keep those records and to make them accessible to, you know, future generations to come. It's really a beautiful thing.
Beautiful place, #1 community center I've seen in America. It's a full-service building, from studios to libraries, offices, Chaldean support, chamber, foundation, and the church is involved as well too. So you have priests that are active coming in and out every day.
It's really a dream come true for many people in the Chaldean community. We've been trying to figure out how can we best preserve our culture, our heritage, our identity, and this is a culmination. I mean, we've been looking at this building for more than 10 years, believe it or not, and by the grace of God, we're able to buy it about a year ago and really accelerated the renovation, and are very happy to now share this with the general community. We have a cooking demonstration kitchen, podcast studios, television studio, business incubator, a theater. These are just some of the wonderful variety of options that we have at this new center.
It's absolutely phenomenal. It's our West Campus. As you know, we've been around for almost 24 years. This is a tremendous achievement to be in this phenomenal town. We're in one of the richest communities in the state of Michigan. And it's a great honor to be here, and it's a great honor to serve our 500,000 Chaldean residents all across the United States of America. So that's what this organization is going to do here in West Bloomfield. We've got the library. We're going to have our National Museum here, and most of all, we're going to be serving our Chaldean community that's needy, that needs help. And we're not just open to Chaldeans; we're open to everybody, of course. So we're very proud of that.
Do nights like these make you proud to be Chaldean?
Yeah, I think this is what we're trying to do is create facilities that will serve generations to come. And so that more and more people will use this facility, Chaldean or not, to the greater benefit. It's educational, it's cultural, and it's meaningful. Those are very important.
The biggest thing that I want people to take away is that they need to learn to give back. That's one of the things that we're very proud of with our Jewish brothers and sisters is they're really, really good at giving back, and we want to teach our Chaldean community to do the same thing, to give back. We've raised over $15 million, and we hope to continue that. So that's the greatest achievement would be if our people learn to give back to the community.
With such a vast collection of knowledge and entertainment, there is something for everyone to enjoy with the new Chaldean Cultural Center, and it's clear just how much of an impact it's going to have on the community for many years to come. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
More information on the brand new Chaldean Community Center can be found on chaldeanfoundation.org. At the top of that page, there is a link that says CC West. That's Chaldean Community Center West. That's their West Bloomfield location. Their other, of course, in Sterling Heights. One more time, chaldeanfoundation.org is the place to go for even more information on the brand new Chaldean Community Center, which is also the new home for the Chaldean Cultural Center. The summer season can bring a lot of joy, but also plenty of hazards, both for us humans as well as our beloved pets. So, how do you help your pet family beat the heat and have a fun, healthy summer with you and yours in the process? Joining us for all the tips and tricks for this summer is the owner of Premier Pet Supply, Mike Palmer. Mr. Palmer, thanks for being with us again.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you back on the show as we are now into the thick of the summer season. We've already gotten a little dose of some of the summer heat and humidity that we experience, usually later on the dog days of summer, right away in the first few days. So let's begin with that. When the heat comes in, and we know it affects us quite significantly, how does that often affect our pets, particularly our dogs that are outside for a significant period of time?
Well, I know this weather kind of came out of nowhere because we had a slow start to the season. It kind of hit us. And, you know, the one thing that we have to consider and think about is our pets are wearing a fur coat all the time, right? And so we got to keep that in mind and factor that in, that they don't have a way of kind of like shedding some clothes and putting on their summer clothes. So one thing I would say is just being very observant and conscientious of the temperatures and the times that you're allowing them to be outside. You might want to consider doing your daily walk very early or later in the evening when the weather's cooler. That's definitely a start.
Yeah, it's something that I've sort of employed myself into my daily routines when we have that sort of heat. I have family that lives out west, and that's what they do in Arizona and in California when they have the hottest seasons of the year. People get out in the morning or people get out in the evening, the midday, that's when you stay indoors. A good rule to apply for your pets. On the other side of that, sometimes you just can't avoid going outside. When it's time for your dog to do their business, they got to go outside, they got to take care of that and come back in. But what maybe are some products or some other actions that people can take to help counteract some of the effects of that heat on their pets in those moments?
For sure. Some of us, you know, we've got pools in back, and the dogs don't want to be left out, and they want to hang out with us. And, you know, some of us, and especially in West Bloomfield with all the lakes, definitely are out on the boat and out by the water. So the things to keep in mind and consider is having an area or plenty of spaces where the dog has shade provided, in an area where we can really stay cool, making sure that there's clean, fresh, cold water always available to them. So throwing some ice cubes in that bowl from time to time, giving them, you know, even like a summer treat, you know, something that you can do from home easily is take an ice cube tray, throw some bone broth or some goat milk in there, maybe a few treats, and freeze that, or do the same thing inside a toy that will allow it. Freeze that as well and give that to them while they're outside, so it actually keeps them cool and helps them to cool down. A couple of things that we have in our stores that are very, very beneficial are cooling collars. You know, cooling collars in days past used to be something you would soak with water, throw in the freezer, and then it would just melt really quickly. The ones that we have now are really cool. They're by a company called Baydog, U.S. veteran-owned company. And what they have are a little gel packs inside the collar that you can throw that whole thing in the freezer. It freezes, you get it on the dog, and it can stay cool for hours.
And that can be really helpful during the summer season, whether we're, excuse me, in the middle of a heat wave where the heat indices are well over 100 degrees, or we're in a regular summer day where it's in the 80s, but it's full humidity. That can have a big effect on your dogs and your other pets that are outdoors. We think about, too, a lot of people with outdoor cats or with indoor and outdoor cats maybe have set up a catio outside. That heat also going to have a similar effect on them as well. The fur coats definitely come into play. Mike Palmer is with us from Premier Pet Supply, their West Bloomfield location in the Orchard Mall, located on Orchard Lake Road, just north of Maple Road in West Bloomfield Township. Mike, there is some key differences that can tell the difference between when maybe your dog is in danger of heat exhaustion or heat stroke during the summer season versus just regular exhaustion from play. So often when we're playing with our dogs, when we're out for a walk or we've been running around or playing around with them, they'll be panting for a while. What are some of the signs that that's not just regular panting and that's some sort of exhaustion that could potentially be dangerous for our beloved pets?
Sure. Now, panting is normal. Dogs don't have the sweat glands that we do in our skin, so they can sweat in a very small way through their paws and their pads. But panting is the way that they can release that heat from their body. So if you recognize or witness excessive panting where they just seem to be at a point of, lethargy or, just completely not wanting and willing to move any further, it's really important that you get them somewhere where you can get them cooled down, get them in the house. You don't want them overdoing it, and something to consider too. We talked about walks or having them outside. That extreme heat affects them in different ways. What I would recommend people do before you get out there onto a paved area or even the asphalt is feel it. Put your hand on that. If it burns your hand, think about those pads on those feet of theirs. Very sensitive. They're exposed. Asphalt in 85-degree temperatures can get up to 120 degrees. Even concrete can get over 100 degrees. So it's really important that we watch out for that. There are actual cooling doggy boots that we sell in our stores, which are pretty cool. But obviously, just avoiding it altogether if you don't have something like that is really important because they can be injured.
You can do a lot of your local shopping online on PremierPetSupply.com. Follow them for even more tips and tricks all throughout the summer and other critical seasons like winter. Some of the opposites of what we see in the summer apply then. They're across social media at Premier Pet Supply. That's Premier Pet Supply across social media. Mike Palmer is joining us on today's edition of the Splash Live. Mike, a lot of these principles we talk about for the summer season, they apply to our dogs in particular that are outside very commonly, but a lot of them also apply to our other pets, cats, even pets like rabbits or guinea pigs along the way as well. So what are some of the similar ways that these high temperatures can affect our other, maybe less common house pets as well?
Sure. It affects them all. Absolutely. Some of them are a little more resilient than others. Keeping your smaller pets like your cats, your guinea pigs, your bunnies, your hamsters, your gerbils, whatever it may be, indoors, obviously, but, in an air-conditioned area. And for some people that may not have air conditioning, run some fans in the room, make sure it's well ventilated. You don't want the humidity also affecting them because that is something that, all those guys are susceptible to. Unless you got a bearded dragon or some type of reptile, they actually love this type of weather, so you're good to go.
And I was at your location earlier on this week in West Bloomfield. I go to that one. I go to the one in Novi. That's closer to where I live as well. And what I love about going in is that both yourself and your team, you are playing a big role in the education of your customers as well. It's not just about getting them to buy those products when you walk in. So especially during this time of the year when they're coming in, maybe even first-time pet owners, it's their first summer with these pets. What role does education play in your everyday at Premier Pet Supply locations like ours here in West Bloomfield?
Yeah, I think it's a huge differentiator. We've got, people that are truly trained even in nutrition in our stores and just all aspects, of general care, in the overall health of your animals and pets. So when you walk in our stores, you're not only going to get answers to your questions, you're going to get knowledge-based answers to those questions. And, we may not know everything, but we really know close to just about everything and every aspect that you may endure with your pet. So for the people in the West Bloomfield community and all the other communities that, we are fortunate enough to have our stores in, they find us as a sort and a resource. A lot of them may come to us before they make a vet visit or in the interim before they can make it to a vet to see if there's some way that we may be able to help them through a problem or situation prior. We're always going to obviously recommend veterinary care when, it's necessary, but we really pride ourselves in having knowledge-based customer service. It's something you can't get online or in the internet or sometimes even at the big box stores. We really, truly care. We've got, people that are very invested in educating themselves and in the overall welfare and health of your pets and your animals. And that's why we've been around for over almost 33 years now.
Yeah, and we want to congratulate you on that as well. Over 30 years of service here in Southeast Michigan, expanding all throughout the local area. You have stores all throughout the place, including right here in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road. Mike Palmer is with us from Premier Pet Supply with a location, as we mentioned, in the Orchard Mall right here in West Bloomfield Township as we talk about pet health and some of the risks that come along with the summer season, what you need to be aware of. Of course, more information, helpful tips across social media. You can follow them at Premier Pet Supply. Mike, before we let you go, anything else that our audience should know on this topic before we let you go, or things coming up at Premier Pet Supply this summer?
I'd offer one piece of advice. Some people think it's a great idea to shave a dog down in the summer heat because it'll cool them down. That's a big mistake. The actual dog's fur, believe it or not, insulates them from extreme heat. So that undercoat is really important to remain intact. So keep that in mind. The one thing that I would offer is that end of July, we always run our Customer Appreciation Week. It's a week long starting July 28th. And we're really excited. We're offering 10% off all food and toppers, 30% off everything else in the store. It's something our customers have really grown to look forward to and mark their calendars for. And it makes us happy that, people get excited for it because it's our way of saying thank you and giving back to the wonderful support that we get from the West Bloomfield community and the other communities surrounding, Metro Detroit area.
You can explore their products and see all their store hours from across Southeast Michigan on PremierPetSupply.com. Mike, thank you as always for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Love it.
Appreciate it. Mike Palmer from Premier Pet Supply. Their closest location to us here in Greater West Bloomfield is in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road, just north of Maple in the Orchard Mall. Premier Pet Supply on Orchard Lake. In West Bloomfield, your next water bill is about to look quite different. In fact, it may shock you when it comes in the mail in early July. The West Bloomfield Township Board earlier this week voted to raise water and sewer bill rates by 23% on the next billing period in order to counteract costs and stabilize the finances of their water and sewer department coverage for now and the future. That includes things like routine repairs, improving on water loss numbers, making necessary changes for efficiency in the future, and doing their best to, as rates go up, as inflation occurs in our economy, keep those rates as low as possible in the future. It's a lot to take in. It was a decision that wasn't made hastily. A lot of discussion over the last couple weeks worth of board meetings, including a couple special meetings, went into that decision that will be implemented on your July water bill. And also there's some other changes coming forth beyond July to your water bill as well. All of which was discussed between our teams, Kevin McIntosh and West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Jonathan Warshay, earlier on this week.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Warshay.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. Good morning.
Thank you. And we just want to address some of these issues so we can answer some of these questions immediately and as soon as possible. Just starting with the why now. What were the most urgent factors that made this the right time for a water rate increase?
Well, I don't know that there's ever a right time for an increase, at least as far as the public is concerned, but we have 4 or 5 main things that occurred, events. One is Great Lakes Water Authority, from whom we buy our water, had a larger rate increase. Just to give folks a little background, it used to be Detroit Water that became Great Lakes, and when it became a regional water authority, they agreed not to have more than 4% increases for 10 years. Okay. That 10 years is up, so the rate was more than 4%. We also have 2 sewer systems that West Bloomfield is part of. Those are through the county. One covers more the northern part, one the southern part, and both of those had larger rate increases. Because we don't control either of those factors, we sort of have to go along for the ride. So that's part of it. We also, those systems needed capital improvements, and those extra costs get passed on to us as well. We also have aging infrastructure within the township. So a lot of our water mains were built 50 years or more ago, and those things have deteriorated, and we're going through a program to replace them. Right. Rather than have a break all of a sudden and put people in the lurch. So those are quite expensive. We're doing one, for example, in the West Acres area that we're going to work on. It was scheduled to be $11.5 million, and it's pushing 14. So those things all go into the water rate. And then the last thing, which sounds a little strange, is water loss through the system. Unlike your house, water pipes in the township and everywhere else will leak a little bit, the water mains. Great Lakes Water Authority had a bad meter a giant meter that the township was using to measure the water that we use throughout the township. It was under reading the amount of water that was being done, so they weren't charging us the full amount.
Wow.
They replaced the meter, and we went from it was so defective, in fact, that sometimes we used more water than we got billed for. So now we're paying for it. So it's we lose about 10% of the water through the system. And just so folks know, we are doing a sound study where they use sound throughout the pipes to detect leaks. If it's a large leak, they fix it immediately. And if it's a smaller leak, then it goes on a list, and we'll be addressing all of those. And that way we'll only be paying for the water that we actually use. And that'll decrease cost to some amount.
Wow, a lot of different factors, and I'm so glad you took the time to explain that, because it adds context and perspective to this situation where a lot of people are just going to get those bills and say, what's going on here? But now that you're added that information, I think it kind of explains a little bit more. Specifically with the infrastructure, I want to go into that. How does this decision support the township's long-term plan for infrastructure?
So we look through how old the pipes are in different areas and if there's been issues, and those are the ones that get done sooner. We have capital improvement projects over the years, and so we try to get to all of the water mains as part of that. So we work in different parts of the township to replace those. Since we are talking about bills, I'll use mine as an example. My last water bill was a little over $200. So if my water usage is the same, my bill will go up $45, $50. Now that's a quarter, so we're talking $15 to $20 a month for my house. Now, folks that have more people in the house using water, or if they have a pool, they're certainly going to see a larger increase than that. Now, as I just said, we bill quarterly, so every 3 months you get a bill. I know that most people do their budgets monthly, so a quarterly bill is a little harder to budget for. So what we're planning to do next year is to go to monthly billing.
Okay.
Just to that should make it easier on everyone. We've currently half our meters are smart meters. So what that means is the water usage gets fed into our water department 4 times a day for each house. And what that does, not so much that we're trying to see what people are doing, but if there's a leak, we'll know within a day, rather than somebody getting a bill after a quarter with a high amount. There's also an app called Eye on Water. So if your house has one of these smart meters, and I'll let folks know, if you don't have one now, we're still doing it. It'll probably be another 4 years before everyone is on the smart meters.
Okay.
But if you have a smart meter, you can have an app called Eye on Water, and it'll alert you to leaks. You tell how many people are in your house. You can indicate if you have a pool or if you're using sprinklers, so that it sort of educates it to know how much water usage to expect, and then it'll alert you if you are using higher than normal use water.
Seems like it's a very handy tool to keep in mind, and we're hoping that our audience took note of that and go ahead to find out how you can get one of those smart meters as well. But with me right here live on The Splash, by the way, we have West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Jonathan Warshay discussing the new vote from the West Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees raising the water and sewage rates that will go into effect July 1st. And just talking about the reason behind the increase as well. Now, one thing I want to talk about before we let you go is the cost of living and everything rising. Everything is getting more expensive, and now we have this to add on top of it. So I want you to address this. With the rising cost of living, how is the township working to ease the burden of these higher water bills for our lower income households or even our fixed income residents like our retirees?
Well, it's certainly, as I mentioned, getting rid of the leaks to reduce the costs is the biggest thing that we can do, and that's why we have those capital improvement programs. But folks can also get help if they need financial help for their bills. They can call our water department at 248-451-4780. And there's a couple of programs out there that folks can use for help. One is through the Great Lakes Water Authority, and the second is through the United Way. And again, if you call our water department at 248-451-4780, they will give you information on those programs, what you need to apply, that kind of stuff, so that you can get some help with your bills.
Great, and thank you for providing that information as well. We'll try to provide that to our audience as well, just as a recap. Mr. Warshay, we appreciate you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to take this time to explain to us this. Any additional key information you would like to let residents know before we let you go today?
Well, the approach we took was to sort of get the water rates back on track for now, so that we don't have to increase it as much later. And that's our goal. Of course, we're sort of at the mercy again of what Great Lakes Water Authority and the county does. We're hoping they keep theirs down, but by doing the jump now, hopefully it won't be so painful later. And I know that's not a lot of consolation, but that was the thinking of the board in doing so.
Yeah, and I mean, in the long run, essentially, it should save us a little bit of pain, and I completely understand that. And we thank you so much for your time and your information. Once again, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, Mr. Jonathan Warshay.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Definitely was not a decision made easily by the township board. All their meetings in which they discussed the water and sewer rate hike and how they were going to execute that ultimately come this July bill are on demand on civiccentertv.com, including Monday's edition of the West Bloomfield Township Board, where they had further deliberation on their options, of course, that being the quote-unquote rip the Band-Aid off method, which is a 23% increase this year, and estimated from the model they got from their consultants at Plant Moran, roughly 10%. So roughly about 4 or 5% for the next several years. Beyond that would be the standard rate increase. Their other options were to be consistent over about 5 years at 10% each year, which at the end of that time period would have been a larger rate increase than rip the Band-Aid off, or a third option, which was a gradual increase with larger percentages year by year by year. The caveat being, you never know what mystery is going to pop up next, what surprise is going to pop up next and impact those water rates, so the 23%, the rationale being that helps to counteract the costs as much over time. And then also during that discussion, that's where this idea of going from quarterly billing to monthly billing, which will begin, as Supervisor Warshay mentioned, after this July billing coming up, also came into factor. For more information on water and sewer rates and services in West Bloomfield Township, you can visit their website on wbtownship.org. Close to home, the end of an era as we bid farewell to one of our community's most beloved first responders. After many years of service in the West Bloomfield Fire Department, including most recently as our Fire Marshal, Byron Turnquist is calling it a career this week. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff had a chance to speak with the Fire Marshal to reflect on his career at home with the West Bloomfield Fire Department and so much more.
I'm happy to be here.
Of course, very, very excited for what's ahead in your future, and really, really excited to be talking about your established career here in West Bloomfield. I want to start from the very beginning. What inspired you to pursue a career in firefighting, and what has kept you dedicated to the West Bloomfield Fire Department for so many years?
Well, I mean, going way back, I grew up in the township. My childhood home backed up to Long Lake Road, and my dad kind of had a little fire buff in him, and every time the fire trucks would go by the backyard, if we were available, he'd grab me, and we'd get in the car and go see where they were going. And then a good family friend was a volunteer firefighter in a local community, and kind of continued that spark and got me interested. And I became one of the township's last paid on call firefighters. I believe it was 1991, maybe 1992. And then I got hired full time as a career firefighter paramedic today, actually, is my anniversary in 1996.
Wow, happy anniversary. And it's awesome to see that you've had this love for your profession at a very, very young age. And looking back, the 29 years that you've been with the fire department, what are some of the most memorable moments that you can think of throughout your career?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reminiscing here in the last couple weeks, and lots of fun stories. Living in the fire station, working at Station 1 for several years. Longtime residents probably remember seeing the firefighters out playing wiffle ball in the parking lot after dinner. And just the camaraderie and how close of a family we were, and still are. The firefighters today live with each other. Spend probably a third of their lives at the fire station, and it truly is an extended family. And there's tons of great memories from hanging out, watching movies, solving all the world's problems at the back of the pickup truck after dinner, playing wiffle ball, and then there's obviously some of the larger scale incidents that we've responded to over the years. The Heckman apartment fire, most recently the Oakland Hills Country Club fire. We assisted Bloomfield Township there. You obviously never forget. And then there's memories that we just don't really want to talk about, some of the tragedies that have happened in the township that we wish we never see and never experience. But we all do our best to make sure that we are there for our residents and help them get through it as best we can.
That's absolutely right. It's a very rewarding job, but also a very dangerous job. And I would imagine that in the 29 years that you've been with the fire department, that the firefighting profession has changed quite a bit throughout that time period. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, looking at the apparatus, the fire trucks that you see driving up and down the road, we've been very fortunate throughout the township having the community support. We have some outstanding equipment, and seeing how that's changed, how the fire trucks, some will say get better, some will say get a little bit worse, but the technology that's in them, some of the computers that help regulate pump pressures and those things, do help make our jobs easier. And the fire trucks just get, I guess, bigger and better. We had a 100-foot aerial, and most recently we just put in service our new 101-foot aerial. We've been very fortunate to have good equipment and help us do our job over the years.
That's absolutely right, and I got a chance to check out the brand new fire truck with the fire station. It's incredible and is certainly going to be put to a lot of great use throughout the community. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with West Bloomfield Fire Marshal Byron Turnquist, talking about his 29 years of service to the West Bloomfield Fire Department as he prepares to head off into retirement this week. Now, Byron, how do you feel as you prepare to close this chapter after serving the community for so long?
To be honest, it's a weird feeling. There's a point in your career where it's just you feel like the time is right to move on and let the next generation take the reins, and I think we're there. I have bittersweet feelings. I'm not ready to necessarily hang up the helmet and give up the job, but the time is just right to let that next generation move in and take the Fire Marshal Division to the next level.
Very, very interesting, and you're absolutely right. It's sometimes you just know it in your gut that you can tell that the moment is right. And you just talked about look ready for the next generation of firefighters. What advice would you give to the next generation of firefighters starting their careers?
Again, we've had outstanding community support throughout my entire career in the township. The public safety millages, just day to day talking to residents throughout the community, outstanding support. And I hope that all the new firefighter paramedics are open enough to talk and listen and learn from the residents that have been here for a long time, share their concerns, be there for them and help where we can. And just keep your eyes open and learn a lot, learn as much as you can, and have a safe and healthy career.
That's absolutely right. And there's a lot of great things that they can learn being a part of a community like this. And community plays a role in so many things. And you've been such a staple throughout the West Bloomfield community over the past few years. How has working closely with the West Bloomfield community influenced you outside of work?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm really never outside of work. That phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife is not going to miss that. That going into retirement, that's probably the one big thing I'm looking forward to is being able to take a break and kind of separate. Again, it's been an outstanding career. Been very fortunate, again, working for the community, being there for the community, trying to do good things, trying to be proactive, working with our residents, working with our developers, working with our business owners. It's going to carry on. The future of the Fire Marshal Division, the guys that are moving in the deputy fire marshal moving into my role. He and I are on the same page on a lot of things, and the transition should go very smoothly. But we're all thrilled to be here and try to make the community a better place for everybody.
And that's what everybody wants. And everybody wants to make sure that this community stays as safe as it possibly can. Byron, what would you say has been the most rewarding part of being a firefighter and a public servant right here in West Bloomfield?
Most recently, I've been doing fire investigations throughout my career, all 29 years. And I've been at a lot of I've been at most of the fires that happen in the township. And kind of very happy with the fact that, and it's not just me, it's everybody in the division, that we're truly there and a resource for our homeowners, or our business owners. Whenever there's a fire or a major loss to your business or your property, your life gets turned upside down. And we see this all the time. We've been at a lot of fires. It's normal for us. But our residents and business owners, this is, most of the time they're one and only major catastrophe that they've had to deal with. And we've done a good job of shifting gears and making sure that we're there for our residents and our homeowners to walk them through the process of dealing with the insurance company or the restoration company, and just being a sounding board when they have a question of if this makes sense or if this is right or should we be doing something else. And we focused on that to try to smooth that process out and get our homeowners and business owners back to the way they were before the incident happened. And I'm really proud that we're there for everybody to just try to make it better, even after the fire.
And you should be very proud of everything that you've accomplished throughout this time. Now, you are retiring, but you're not leaving the community. As you said, you are a West Bloomfield resident. How do you hope the community will remember your services after you retire?
I grew up in the township. I'm not a township resident anymore, but that's okay. I will, again, I've got lots of friendships and the West Bloomfield Fire Department, it's been my family. So we'll still be around, still touch base and check in and make sure things are going smoothly and be there. We're working hard the last couple of weeks trying to smooth over that transition to projects that I've been involved in, get everybody up to speed so they know where everything's at. And there's going to be things that are missed and questions that are going to need to be answered. I'm always going to be available for everybody and I'll still check in on my family. I'm not going to be the long lost relative that nobody sees ever again.
That's great that we're still going to be hearing from you. For those just joining us, once again, we're talking with Byron Turnquist, the fire marshal for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, talking about his many years of service and his impending retirement taking place this week. Now, Byron, what are your plans or hopes for life after retirement?
Lots of ideas. I keep telling my wife, who tells me I need a job so I don't bother her while she's at home. A lot of open ideas, lots of thoughts, and talking to people that I've worked with throughout my years here. I keep telling people that I really need to grow up and decide which way I want to go. So right now I'm planning on enjoying the summer. Fireworks season is quickly approaching, and I haven't really enjoyed the summer holiday in some time because we've been busy with the professional fireworks shows. So I'm just looking to, enjoy a month or so off, and then I'm sure I'll land somewhere and most likely still stay in this field, whether it's fire investigations or plan reviews or something along those lines.
Hey, there's going to be a lot of great stuff taking place this summer. You're going to have a lot of fun throughout the next couple of months. Byron, one quick question before we wrap things up. Is there anything you'd like to say to your colleagues or the residents of West Bloomfield as you prepare to step away?
I'd just like to thank everybody that I've worked with within the fire department, the police department, Township Hall, even the Tri-Cities have been great to work with. I'm going to miss everybody and wish them all the best and hope to not become a stranger.
You certainly will never be a stranger here, Byron. Thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for the greater West Bloomfield community.
Again, thank you for the kind words, and we're always here.
Byron Turnquist been a great partner of ours over the years, supporting our programming along with the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Want to wish him a happy retirement and congratulate him on so many years of service to his hometown here in Greater West Bloomfield, and of course in the Tri-Cities as part of the Tri-City Fire Department as well. You can keep up to date with WBFD and congratulate Byron Turnquist on a stellar career on Facebook at WB Fire Department. It's one of our most frustrating things to come home to at the end of a day, a full trash can at the bottom of your driveway when it's trash pickup day. Between changing services, communication errors, vehicle breakdowns, it's no secret it's been a very frustrating first year of operations in Greater West Bloomfield for Priority Waste, having taken over for GFL on July 1st just a year ago. But now new vehicles, communication apparatus in place, and an increased staff training have Priority Waste saying that the cavalry isn't just coming, it is already here. I had a chance to speak to Public Relations and Government Affairs Director Matt Allen from Priority Waste for more of these updates. Here's some of our conversation. Matt, thank you so much for your time today.
Tyler, thanks for giving me the opportunity to address the wonderful residents of West Bloomfield. Thank you so much.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this. And as we recently did celebrate National Waste and Recycling Workers Week in the mid to late portion of the month of June, I want to talk first about those that are out on the front lines throughout the week, picking up our trash and our recycling in communities like West Bloomfield and the greater West Bloomfield area. Now, just how tough is that job that people maybe don't understand when they put their trash out on the side of the road at the beginning of the week and they come home later on in the day and it's gone and they just rinse and repeat every week?
You know, what's funny, Tyler, I thank you for the setup, actually. For less than the price of a latte, we haul your waste away, your recycling, and your compostables every week. And so in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty simple task, but there's a lot of complicated parts to it. So we appreciate people's patience when weather delays or mechanical issues have presented delays in service over the last year or so. We've improved greatly during that 90-day period of transition we talked about last summer into the fall. And I've got some really good news to share for you and the viewers today about some of the promises that we made last year about new trucks replacing the worn out fleet that we bought. We certainly took the time to spend $20 million of investment to stabilize the fleet that we purchased from the previous provider. And it was beyond baling wire and bubble gum, I can assure you. There was a lot of money that was invested just to get us through the hump, which was to the new trucks that were coming, which we knew would take 14 to 18 months to have them manufactured and delivered. So we appreciate our workers working 8, 10, and 12-hour days through the month of May, which is the heaviest month of composting and organics that go out, believe it or not. The 35 days that start somewhere in the first week to the second week of May and runs into June. 40% of all the compost or organic matter that's disposed of throughout the entire year happens during that 35 to 40-day period. So it presents quite a challenge for not just Priority Waste, but for any waste hauler here in Michigan and elsewhere in the Midwest. The spring growth, the big heavy growth, it's wet growth. It's also when everything's going to try to go to seed. It's the heaviest period. Everyone's cleaning out their garages, they're cleaning out their flower beds and their yards and pruning and so on. There's a lot there. So it is a heavy task, and it happens every year. So we didn't shy away from the reality of it this year, and we were behind a few days, but we kept on it day after day after day with Saturday recoveries. And we're kind of coming out of that period right now, which is fantastic. It normally happens about a week before the 4th of July, traditionally. But the good news I want to share with folks is our workers are out there, and we appreciate the people that offered water and, in some cases, other things besides water to our workers during National Garbage Man Appreciation Week. And the actual day was last Tuesday. And then we did some things, shared some appreciation letters and voicemails and texts and so on that people had given from West Bloomfield and surrounding communities for our workers. We do appreciate them. They do the unrecognized task every day, just like the post office, you know. Rain or snow, sleet, dark of night, we're still out there doing our task, which is to pick up your organics, your recycling, and clearly your garbage. So we appreciate all of that. We love being part of the community in that regard. Our dialogue with the township has been fantastic, Tyler. The leadership there with Jonathan Warshay, the supervisor, and so on has been excellent. Although we didn't shy away from the reality of things, we were certainly willing to communicate and so on. But I will tell, here's the great news. What we thought we wouldn't get until Christmas time, November, December, which was new trucks. We had ordered dozens and dozens of them when we did the transition, and we just had to be patient while they were being manufactured. Our CEO didn't have a magic wand, but he was able to stay on top of it month after month diligently, trying to figure out a way to get these trucks delivered earlier, even if it was just 90 days. The good thing is last week we took 7 brand new trucks. Today we're taking delivery of 7 more. We're sending drivers down to Ohio where the manufacturer is to bring in 7 more. And then by the end of this week, we'll have 21 plus the 7 from last week, or about 28 trucks. And by the 4th of July, the week after the 4th of July, we should have 50 brand new trucks up here to get rid of 50 tired and worn out vehicles that we bought during the purchase from the previous provider. So the relief is coming, Christmas in July. It's coming in July. So we'll be able to put them into the fleet and into service. So communities like West Bloomfield that have still some of the old lime green trucks out there with our stickers on them, those are going to go away. You're going to start to see brand new Corrados and rear packers in our communities like West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Township, Waterford, White Lake, Shelby Township, Rochester. All the communities along the M59 corridor are going to start seeing new trucks inserted into the fleet, and the old ones are going away, which is going to be tremendous to helping keep us on time, limit the number of hydraulic blowouts that have been happening, which we regret, but we deal with them as they happen. So the good news is the cavalry figured out a way to get here early. So we're very happy to announce that to all of our communities.
Yeah, it's really good news, and certainly will help to alleviate some of the delays that have been seen in the past year or so since this relationship began with Priority Waste taking over for Green for Life, or GFL, in many of our local communities, including here in West Bloomfield. Matt Allen is with us from Priority Waste. Matt, it's no secret that among the frustrations, not only those breakdowns that cause those delays, communication also something that many residents and even members of the Township Board in West Bloomfield had some gripes about over the last 12 months or so. What improvements have been made to communication systems and that dialogue that often happens between trash and recycling providers and individual residents as well?
So West Bloomfield is a quarterly billing community, right? So not unlike many of the townships that stretch along the M59, Highland Road, Hall Road corridor. There's a lot of quarterly billing townships. In other words, townships that have, unlike a city, that does single payer. In other words, it goes on the tax bill and it gets just paid in 12 monthly increments to the provider, meaning Priority Waste per the contract. In townships, a lot of them are still doing quarterly billing where we have to send out a paper bill or by preference, an electronic bill to a resident. And now in West Bloomfield, you've got about 22,200 plus households which receive a quarterly bill. And with that, every time the quarterly billings go out and all townships are on the same cycle, we have a huge spike in call volume for people that are confused, or they may have moved, or they missed a back payment, or a credit wasn't there. and it creates call volume. And most of the call volume comes between 8 a.m. and 10:30 in the morning. And currently we have, as I checked before our interview today, we have about 1,780 calls in the queue. Now, we don't have 1,780 people to answer the phone, as you might imagine, but we do. We're working Saturdays, and we're working 4 hours of overtime each day through these quarterly billing periods to try and get return calls back to customers. Now, there's two things that are really helpful. Don't hang up without leaving your information, because there's no way for us to get back with you. And we get these, one of the refrains that we hear is that, oh, nobody answers the phone and nobody calls me back. Well, if you don't leave information for us to either email you or call you back, we can't. And then the other thing is, a lot of people, and we're all guilty of it, they'll see a number that they're not familiar with, and they won't pick up when we call them back. And that creates frustration as well. So we're able to solve most billing issues, either set you up with a portal so that you can do auto pay through your internet portal, or pay your bill, or correct a payment bill, okay, with whatever payment you prefer. We normally are able to do that within 2 minutes. What people get frustrated is that they're all calling at the same time, like, I want to get this done first thing in the morning so I can go on with my day. And they're like, nobody called me back today. Well, we're at 1,700 calls an hour. We're not going to be able to get back to people until the next day. So we're trying to get everyone done in real time based on the number of people that we have, which are many, and then try to get everybody called back within 24 to 48 hours to get them done during peak. Once peak is over with in all the townships, it's not so bad, quite frankly, to get through. I will say that last week, and you're not the only community that had this, because of the severe weather incidents that we had, so many in succession, our phone system and power went out, not unlike many areas. Yeah. We're not immune from that either. And that caused the queue to re-queue everyone. So when everything came back to service, 14, 16 hours later, I think it was, when everything came back online, because they worked through the night to get that corrected, instead of having 1,700 calls, there was like 12,000 or something like that, which of course, many of the redundant ones, they get filtered out. It does correct itself. However, that did take a process of that day, and then we had to get back to calling everybody back. So that has been pretty much whittled down, but we probably have another day of those backlog calls. So we'll be back to normal operations probably by midweek, probably by Wednesday morning of this week. We should be back to totally normal on the call volume. So we appreciate people's patience and understanding, but we're not immune from acts of God or weather incidents either.
Of course. And outside of course, these moments like when we have severe weather and that causes some backlog to happen, when there are just average run-of-the-mill delays, or even something like Mother Nature getting in the way, and that causes a delay where people may not have their trash picked up on a regular date. How is that communicated to communities, and how maybe has that changed with all this new technology being employed by your company to make that communication smoother, more efficient, and make sure that residents know, hey, if my garbage day is Tuesday and there's going to be a delay, that I know when I should be putting my trash out?
So we put messages out on social media, although it's a horrible way to communicate professionally. So we don't do that as our main communication. We leave that up to the townships to put it on their web pages. All the communities that we service, of the 128 communities that we service, the official means to communicate, other than legal documents, obviously, to the communities is now through an electronic means. So they're not sending out letters and postcards because of obviously the many days of delay in order to getting those messages out. So they're putting it on the web pages. What I will tell residents of West Bloomfield is, if at 6 o'clock when you come home from the office or your employment or wherever you are, and your cans are there along with everybody else in the neighborhood, they're still there, that's because we're behind.
That full interview is available on demand on civiccentertv.com. It's over 20 minutes, a lot to go over with Matt Allen earlier on this week about the latest updates from Priority Waste as they are about to reach 1 year of providing trash and recycling services here in Greater West Bloomfield, both in West Bloomfield Township and many of the surrounding communities as well, where there's been some common problems over that first year since taking over for GFL. So plenty of explanation in there. You can also get more information, including how to get in contact with them on prioritywaste.com and across social media at Priority Waste. That's going to do it for today's edition of the show. I want to remind you, television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew and to you as well for tuning in. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social. This has been The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.